We welcome now the author of the Great American Political Trivia Challenge, Rich Rubino. Rich, great to have you this morning. You know, I wanted to outline these two arguments coming from the administration at the same time. One being the president didn't get an adequate explanation of this shift in numbers on the jobs report. The other being this concern the swing was politically motivated. So it seems like the former narrative may be one a bit easier to digest for most voters. What are your thoughts on the messaging coming from the administration on this one overall?
Yeah, well, certainly President Trump, I think the economy, he made that kind of his flagship issue. He does not want to be seen as a president whose job creating expectations did not meet the standard which I think he has set. Now, what is interesting is that this is the biggest revision since 1968. But that being said, the head of the BLS does not make these decisions kind of unilaterally. There's an entire coterie, there's an entire team, if you will, around them that gives them the statistics, and the statistics theoretically are supposed to be nonpartisan and non-ideological. That being said, the president has an out by saying that head of the BLS was somebody who was originally nominated by President Biden. But that being said, only 6 Republican senators voted against the confirmation, and J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio were 2 senators who voted for the confirmation, which is a relatively non-controversial nomination.
Well, I really appreciate you highlighting all of those points. They're really critical to put it in context. I want to focus in on the economy and what you mentioned. You know, the president has touted the state of the economy right now as a major win for the administration. We know he campaigned on this heavily, putting some horsepower behind the economy. You know, at the same time, though, voters appear to be souring on his handling of the economy. We have some new numbers from Gallup. In July, they show just 37% approve of his approach. This always seems, Rich, to be the issue as voters head to the ballot box. All eyes are on the midterms right now. How long does the president have to turn the tide, to change the sentiment here?
Well, I think it's real. I think he does not have that long at all, because what's happening is right now that as the economy at least Donald Trump appears not to have high approval ratings based on the economy. What's happening is this is a recruiting magnet for Democrats to run in House and Senate seats that might not necessarily be hospitable to Democrats. For example, North Carolina, former Governor Roy Cooper, who could have run for president in 2028 himself, decided he would run for an open Senate seat in North Carolina. You might see this in other seats as well, where Democrats are just saying that potentially the president has a low job approval rating, the 6th year of a presidency. Generally speaking, the president loses seats. In fact, Bill Clinton in 1998 was the first president whose party actually picked up seats in a 6th year of a presidency since James Monroe back in 1820. So every indicator shows this could be a very good year for Democrats. So Donald Trump really needs to show economic numbers, not only that are positive, not only does he need to show it, but the American people need to feel it, which is very important.
Yeah, it's critical. We have about 30 seconds left. You know, I wanted to note at the same time, the numbers on the left aren't picking up steam, which is a bit surprising. We know the party struggled to get on message, coalesce behind a leader. We have a recent poll. This is from the Wall Street Journal, and it shows voters trust Republicans more than Democrats to tackle inflation and tariffs, even though Republicans really have been in lockstep with the president pretty much across the board. What do those numbers suggest to you for Dems?
That, yes, definitely deleterious effects upon the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party right now is just kind of a large litany of people. There really is no leader of the Democratic Party. If you say who represents the Democratic Party, unlike the Republican Party with Donald Trump, there really is no known leader. So I think they need to have somebody that really needs to step up. That being said, there's no presidential nominee, and there won't be one till 2028. So there's going to be a lot of internecine fighting. And I think you're going to have a lot of younger members like Jasmine Crockett and AOC trying to step up, as well as some more establishment figures like Hakeem Jeffries and certainly Chuck Schumer.
Yeah, this may be a critical time to do so. Rich, it's always great to pick your brain. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Great to have you.